So, Colin, you've been a CTO and engineering leader for multiple years. You've seen all sorts of tech trends come up and down, hype cycles, growth curves, etc. What, as an operational executive and also someone that has a strategic roadmap, what are some of the what are some of the how would you tie between what analysts and trends that are occurring in all sorts of newspapers and stuff people are talking about? How would you tie that to what you need operationally? What are some of the things you're looking to invest in, either by recruiting more talent or investing in technology? What are some of those, your 2, 3 year roadmap type stuff you think about?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of thoughts. One of them a little bit more philosophical, one I think a little bit more practical. The practical one is, to me, the value of experimentation. If anybody had a crystal ball and could see a year or 2 years out, then, hey, they would have seen COVID coming along and would have been prepared for it and would have made billions out of it. Nobody did. Nobody has a crystal ball. And the world can change, as we've seen on a dime. And yeah, there's fundamental things that are a function of our mission that we do day in and day out. And we get good at that, and we extend our capacity and our capabilities. But being open to serendipitous discovery, to find the itches that you've scratched for yourself that you then go and scratch for other people, turning internal thoughts and ideas and technology into products or services, I think super important. And you never know when the next opportunity is going to come around the corner. And I sit with teams day in and day out that are doing very, very deep thought. And sometimes I'll look at them and go, you've got your think phase of your project going on for the next 6 weeks. I'll bet that the quality of thoughtfulness after 24 hours and after a week and after 6 weeks is probably that much different. But if you take the pretty quick thought set and actually get something out there, thoughts, ideas, hack something together, get out in the market, then you're going to get real data back. And by the way, in all that thought process, you can never be all knowing. You need real data, real customer experience, real merchant experience to really tune your thoughts. And I've had plenty of examples in my career where, I've talked to teams that are like, we need to go and think about this and study it and, for the next, X number of months. I'm like, no, at the end of this week, we're going to get, this recommender out or this personalization capability. And it's going to be MVP, but we're going to get it out there because it's going to teach you how to think and move fast. It's going to get real world feedback from your customers. And when I go back to those teams, 4 or 5 weeks later and say, how did that process go? The response I generally get, not true in all cases, is I'm glad we went through that because we could have gone through, 6 weeks of thought process. We wouldn't have got the same outcomes because we didn't have the data, subjective and objective coming back in from the people that we're serving. So I think that's important. So that's kind of the little bit more of the practical, experiment. When there's a failure, I don't look at things as failures. Maybe you didn't get the expected outcome, but you learned a lot along the way. That's not a failure to me. That's a success, but the outcome may not be the expected outcome. So the terminology, the nomenclature you use to describe some of these things is super important. On the more philosophical side, and I'm going to read this to you because I love this quote. It sums up for me how and I don't consciously think about this day in and day out, but it sums up to me, how I've experienced work and life. And and folks won't be surprised. I'm sure, everybody on the planet's heard this, but it's so meaningful to me. I've got several t-shirts with it printed on. Theodore Roosevelt. Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the gray twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat. Go out and try stuff, screw it up, fail, make a mistake, whatever you want to describe it. You'll do better because of that, because you will learn. We are all learning beings. You'll learn because of that. Then, don't try anything, don't risk anything, just sort of bumble along. And you can have a great life doing that. But I think you can have a better and richer life by trying things and screwing them up. And we've all done that in our career. I've blown stuff out of the water. I've humiliated myself. And maybe I'm just dumb, but I pick myself back up again and go and do it all over again. Because the successes are a great high and the failures are not failures, they're learning opportunities. And I resonate with this thing, because I don't want to live in that gray twilight. I
This is the
really don't.
coolest answer, Colin, because I was expecting you to come up with like, well, I want the next flux capacitor of artificial intelligence and some blockchain, something, and you you came back with you just talked about people and empowering people. Wow.
You got it. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.